mystics and now many physicists say that the entire universe is a vibrating energy and that everything in creation has its own vibrational rate, the frequency of which depends on its evolutionary development. The simpler and less evolved aspects of the universe vibrate at a high frequency and a low amplitude, contrary to popular metaphysical lore, which claims that the more evolved you are, the higher your frequency. Frequency refers to the number of up and down cycles the vibrating wave makes in a certain length of time, while amplitude refers to the height of the wave itself. In naturally occurring waves, ocean waves for instance, the tendency is for higher frequencies to have lower amplitudes, and for lower frequencies to have higher amplitude. You can see this, for instance, at the beach. The waves that come in more frequently are the smaller ones, those of low amplitude. The larger waves, those of high amplitude, come in at a lower frequency, in other words, less often. Also note that the high amplitude waves are those with more power, while those with low amplitude are weaker. Amplitude level equals power level. According to mystics, the human energy field is also vibrating, and the frequency and amplitude of that vibration varies with the degree of spiritual evolution of the individual. The less evolved person, one who often experiences his or her world in terms of separation, disease, stress, and imbalance, has a vibratory level that is high in frequency and low in amplitude. And just as the low amplitude ocean waves have little power, the unevolved individual has little personal or spiritual power. As evolution takes place, however, this vibratory frequency slows down, and the amplitude and the individual's personal and spiritual power increases. According to Eastern thought systems, this vibration is carried in what they call the subtle body, in a series of branching channels called nadis. The major nadis make up the Chinese system of acupuncture meridians. Initially, these channels are tight, and just as a tight guitar string plays a high-frequency note, tight nadis also vibrate at a high frequency. As an individual evolves and becomes more consciously aware, the nadis loosen, gradually vibrating at slower, more powerful frequencies. The nadis of the unevolved individual are tight because they carry all the unconscious ideas, beliefs, and other mental and emotional programming about who we are and what our relationship is to the rest of the universe. To the degree that this programming is other than harmony, balance, and peace, the nadis remain constricted, keeping the life force energy from flowing freely. This unresolved stuff causes the nadis to vibrate at a high frequency and a low amplitude. Now remember that low amplitude is low power. As we let go of this untruthful programming, the nadis loosen, the life force energy flows more freely, and the vibrational rate decreases. As this happens, personal power increases, and we increasingly experience our unity with the rest of the universe, rather than our separation from it. As this happens, we experience peace and happiness instead of dis-ease, stress, and conflict. When you expose yourself on a daily basis to holosync, you are really doing three things. First, you are taking yourself into the deeper alpha, theta, and delta brainwave states. This opens the unconscious areas of the mind and accesses untruthful programming buried there. In addition, beginning in Awakening Level 1, we use silent affirmations chosen by you and recorded in your own voice to help shift this programming. Second, the process of change I've described before in these letters, where your nervous system is brought to a point of temporary chaos followed by a quantum leap to a new and more evolved level, is also stimulated. You may want to refer to my other writings to review the mechanics of this process. Finally, you are exposing the nadis to frequencies lower than their current rate of vibration. This lower frequency acts on the nadis like a tuning fork. The nadis attempt to vibrate at this new lower frequency, but since they're constricted with unconscious beliefs about who you are, which also cause suffering and pain, the nadis have difficulty doing so. That is, unless they can let go of what is blocking them, which of course is exactly what happens. As you've meditated with holosync, your nadis have been exposed on a daily basis to a frequency lower than the frequency at which they were vibrating when you began the program. Because of this, all untruthful programming vibrating at a higher level than that frequency has been gradually released. Finally, having released what is constricting them, the nadis can now resonate with the frequency level of the holosync we use in Awakening Prologue. Once this happens, you've fully integrated Awakening Prologue. At this point, the soundtracks will not seem as strong as they once did and will not have the same impact. When you move then to the next level, Awakening Level 1, you will expose the nadis to an even lower vibratory frequency, and the process continues, once again creating new possibilities for positive change. This is the same process serious meditators have undergone for many thousands of years, except that up to now the low-frequency tuning fork effect has traditionally been provided by the spiritual teacher or guru, whose energy field is already vibrating at super low vibratory rates. This low-frequency energy radiated by the teacher to anyone in his vicinity is called Shakti in the Hindu system, Chi in the Chinese system, and Ki in the Japanese system. This is why these spiritual teachers have such personal charisma. This ability to lower the frequency of your energy field is the real power of holosync. First, we use holosync to open the unconscious parts of the mind, allowing what was suppressed to come into conscious awareness, to be released and healed. We help this process along in the custom-made levels that follow Awakening Prologue with silent affirmations chosen by you and recorded in your own voice. In addition, as you move from one program level to the next, we gradually reduce the overall vibratory rate of the energy field by lowering the carrier frequency we use, allowing more life force energy to flow through the nervous system. And, as I've said many times, this process can be cathartic because people often resist the changes. It's worth repeating, however, that catharsis is not intrinsically painful. It's our resistance to the positive changes that are happening that causes our pain. Why do we resist? Because we identify with the blockages that are being eliminated. We think these old ways of being keep us safe. These blockages, however, are nothing more than our concepts of who we are, often called the ego. In other words, our pain is caused by a case of mistaken identity. We are not these concepts and beliefs. We are much, much more. As we learn to watch the process with curiosity rather than resist it, we relax. We become more peaceful, and the process moves more smoothly and more quickly. If you've noticed that your